In this presentation, we're going to set up a credit card account, which we will be using bank feeds within our accounting system. Here we go with Xero. Here we are in our Triple G dashboard. We're now going to be setting up a credit card account. So we want to do the same kind of thing with the bank feeds with regards to the credit cards. To do that, you would think you'd go to the chart of accounts. So let's take a look at the chart of accounts. I'm going to select the accounting dropdown, go on down to that chart of accounts. This is where we would typically go to be setting up new accounts. You would think that the chart of accounts is normally going to be set up in terms of the account type over here. And with the bank accounts, it's a specific asset type of account. So it would be on top. It would be assets, liability, equity, income, and then expense type of accounts. And then the more liquid assets on top, including the bank account. You would think then that the credit card account, being a liability account, would be some kind of a liability account that would be kind of in this section down here, a current liability account. But note that the credit card account in the system, and it makes sense that it's set up this way, but it's a little confusing at first. The credit card, although it's a liability type of account, will be a bank account, because the bank account for this system basically means that we're talking about accounts that have potential to be linked to the financial institution for which a credit card does have that. Now you might be saying, well, how does that work? Because the bank account is usually an asset and usually has a debit balance on the on the balance sheet and on the trial balance. How is the credit card account, a liability account, going to be in that system? And we've seen, as we've already seen with the bank accounts, what happens is if it's something that's like overdrawn, when we saw the bank account was overdrawn, then the Xero system actually took it from an asset and said, hey, it's a liability now. They didn't show it as a negative overdrawn asset. They took it and put it down as a liability, something that we owe. And that's basically the same thing that's going to happen with the credit cards. So because it's anything that's going to have a bank fee type of feature will be set up as a bank, even though it's not really a bank account in that it's not money that we have, but in money that we owe, it will then flip over to a liability account given the fact that it's going to have kind of a negative balance, or it's going to be money that we owe. We owe the institution rather than the institution holding on money that is basically owed to us. So that's the first thing to kind of understand. Now, once you're here, you can set up the credit cards by adding an account, not this one, because this would be an account, any account other than, in essence, a bank type of account or credit card account, something that you're going to be using bank feeds with. You can set it up here to say add bank account on this one, or you could go up top, and it's probably more common for people to go to the accounting and then the bank account information, because this is where you typically go, or I typically go, I see most people typically going with regards to their bank feed information. So there we have our checking account. This is our bank feed on the checking account where we keep on going to reconcile, and it's totally reconciled now, and we're proud of that. But now we're going to add our credit card account. So then we're just going to add another bank account. So don't let it confuse you that it's a credit card. It's going to be a liability account. We're going to add a bank account. And then we could search for our credit card company here. And so common credit card company, most of the large ones will have that link available to you. I'm going to say American Express and see if we have American Express, which of course we do. So I'm going to say all American Express US credit card. So I'm going to pick that one up. And then the account name, I'm just going to call it Credit Card Amex. American Express. All right. So then the card number, I'm going to put the digits here and see if it lets me continue on with this item. I'm going to say continue. And there it is. Now we got our checking account in the bank account section, and we've got our credit card account, and I call it credit card. So let me edit the detail, credit cart. Now let me change that. I'm going to edit the details and see if I can change the name here. So I'm going to say credit card, because that's definitely going to annoy some people, and I don't want to, and I'm going to say it even annoys me. So that's pretty bad. So I'm going to change the name on that, credit card American Express. So here we have our two accounts. Now we're ready to set up basically the bank feeds for them. Let's just check that out in our chart of accounts real quick. I'm going to go to the accounting drop down and then go down to our chart of accounts. And then if we scroll down, notice again, if it's an order by account type, this will kind of throw you off for a while. Threw me off at least for a while, because I would assume that the credit card would be down below. But again, it's in the account type of a bank account, even though it's going to be showing up on the balance sheet as a liability, because once again, the system's going to take that bank account and see it has a negative balance in it with regards to a normal asset account. We owe the institution, so it's going to flip it over to a current liability account. So it will appear on the current liability account, even though it will be listed in the chart of accounts as a bank account, which we would typically assume to be an asset. So it does work, it makes sense, but it seems a little bit funny at first glance, at least to me. Next time, we'll be uploading the credit card information. So that's it for now. Let's get out of here.